Tonight is our first night doing the no screens and bed by 9 o'clock 2-week challenge, and right now we are playing a quick game of Phase 10, and then it'll be lights out. He'll probably listen to a podcast and I'm going to try to go to sleep. Tomorrow I might bring a book or something, but tonight I'm thinking I'm just going to try to knock out. Welcome to another 2-week challenge. This is my second one doing so far on this channel. Tonight will be night 3 of this challenge. We're going to bed at 9 o'clock, so we're like teeth brushed, in our pajamas, getting into bed, and we're not doing any screens. So in the past, pretty much since we've gotten married, we've had a pretty rough sleep schedule. We just were staying up super late because shortly after we got married is when everything shut down, and so just like sleep in general, sleep cycle just got really wonky. We were going to bed sometimes as late as 3 or 4 in the morning, just staying up on our phones, watching videos. And then recently also I'm kind of between jobs trying to look for something, and so sometimes just he gets home from work and we end up staying up until like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then usually I end up trying to go to sleep because I just get frustrated being up so late. And then of course that leads to sleeping in really late, and I just don't like that sleep cycle. So going to bed at 9 is a little bit of an extreme to kind of correct it, and then also not having phones or screens available to us. It's just like a nice addition to the challenge, and I think helpful in just kind of winding down. So the first night we ended up playing Phase 10 in bed as kind of like a wind down together. And then at night 2, we ended up reading a book. We just started reading How to Make Friends and Influence People. I found that we're just enjoying each other's company more. Maybe I can't speak for him. I find that by not being even allowed to look at my phone, I'm enjoying his company more. Throughout the evening as we're kind of winding down, I find that we talk more, we kiss a little bit more, and we're just overall are just kind of enjoying each other's company more than we do when we're just each kind of looking at our own screens. To the point, before this challenge, there were literally nights where each of us had our computer on our laps and a phone. Plus, occasionally I bring so I have a work computer, and then I have my personal MacBook. And so there were literally nights where there were 3 computers, 2 phones, and then 2 people. There do not need to be 5 screens for 2 people. It's insane. And that's just to say I am not proud of that. And this is part of the reason that this challenge seemed so useful. This is what I'm hoping is going to happen. I'm hoping that I will start to fall asleep faster. Ideally, I would like to have a sleep schedule that puts me falling asleep between 10 and 11 and waking up between 6 and 7, because I want to be more productive throughout the days. I feel like anytime after 12 o'clock, I'm not being productive. I can work on something, but usually it's not gonna be my best work and it's just not gonna be good. Whereas if I wake up relatively early and I have a good night's sleep, then I can be relatively productive, which is something that I lack late at night. So that is kind of the goal of this challenge, as well as just to kind of, again, have a chance to really appreciate the time with my husband so that we can fully pay attention to each other and realize just how much we care about the other person, and not be okay, I'm not kidding you when I say I've had conversations with Andrew where he's talking to me and I'll be like this. Right. Yeah. That's not cool. And if I'm going to be honest, I don't really understand what he's saying, and I usually do it when he's talking about science stuff that I just don't understand. But I'm never going to learn, or really, as he grows throughout his PhD and his master's degree, I'm not going to learn and really see him develop if I'm listening to him like this. And if he did that to me while I talked to him about my day at work when we lived in Georgia and I was the one working, I would be really hurt. I need to work on that, and I think this kind of challenge is going to be really helpful in seeing the benefits of just putting the screens away. So that's what we're doing.
This video is fun.
before I lost all of my natural sunlight, I just wanted to really quickly update you guys. So initially I had planned on doing just 9 o'clock across the board. At that point, no screens, and we were going to be in bed. Once we got to the weekend, we realized 9 o'clock just was a little bit too early for us, so we decided to push it back to 11 for the weekends. So we had 9 o'clock on weeknights and 11 o'clock on weekends. I have been loving this challenge. I wouldn't say I fall asleep crazy fast, although my husband may say differently because he tends to fall asleep a little bit after me, but waking up has been so much easier. One of the things that have been driving me absolutely crazy about our sleep cycle outside is getting sunnier and brighter, and it's like daytime. That whole process was kind of driving me crazy. So during this time of this challenge, I am finding myself waking up like without any alarms or anything around 7 a.m. And at that time, I like want to get out of bed. Like I want to just throw open the curtains, let in the natural sunlight, and just start my day. Whereas before, I'd be waking up, like opening my eyes around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and I would just be like, I would feel groggy even though I've slept 6-7 hours, but it wasn't good quality sleep. So having shut off our electronics and turned all of our screens off around 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock, just winding down and then just starting to fall asleep, it's just been fun. And I found that like one night we literally were just like whispering, and it felt like a sleepover, and it was just very bizarre how such a simple thing as talking together, which is something we always do, but like just the fact that we were whispering and like it felt like a slumber party, and there's like a little bit of a giddiness and excitement. So it seems silly, but putting away those phones has really helped just in focusing in on quality time together. I definitely have fallen asleep before midnight, pretty much for the entirety of this challenge. Even the nights that we were shutting off electronics around 11, like I didn't really stay up after that. I pretty much passed out because I honestly was feeling tired by that point because my body was already getting used to the newer cycle of 9 o'clock we're winding down. So by the time 11 o'clock hit, it was like, I'm ready. So overall, I think the natural cycle of the day and everything, it definitely just feels more natural to do it something like that. And then again, I just more naturally am waking up earlier, and I feel well rested. Even if I only am getting like the same amount of sleep as I was before, the quality's a lot better. And I think there's something about actually waking up in the morning. This sounds really like dumb, but like waking up in the morning, like anywhere between like 6 and 8 o'clock, you just feel like you're actually starting your day. Versus if you're waking up between 9 and 12, it feels like the day is already it started without you, and now you just kind of feel behind. Again, that may not be for everyone, but that's how I personally often feel if I wake up later, is I just feel like the day's kind of passed me by, and I am a lot less productive that day, I'm a lot more groggy, and I just don't feel like in the mood to do anything. Versus when I'm waking up earlier, I like want to do things. Like I'm getting up, I'm ready to check my work email. Like I'm in a better headspace, and there's a lot more clarity, and I just feel a lot better. I don't know if all of that made sense, but what I'm basically trying to say is I'm over a week into this, and I'm just feeling a whole lot better than I was prior to this challenge. I had set up a meeting this morning for 10 a.m. and prior to this challenge, a 10 a.m. meeting would have been like, oh boy, like will I be up? Like I remember Andrew yesterday, he was like, are you gonna set an alarm? You have a 10 a.m. and I was like, I'm gonna be up before then. And that's the crazy thing is like 2 weeks ago, 10 a.m. would have been something I needed to set an alarm for, but now my body's just like, hello, it's morning, get up. And I actually like want to listen to that wake up call. Something that I find always makes a world of a difference, no matter what time I wake up, is just opening the curtains. Even if I haven't like decided I'm gonna get out of bed yet, just open the curtains. Even if I wanna go sit back down in bed, have that natural sunlight in. It's like in Frozen when the little girl, Anna, is it Anna? I think it's Anna, who's like, the sun's awake, so I'm awake. That's kind of how it feels when I open the curtains and I just let in that sunlight. My body's just like, it's go time. The sun is awake, you should be awake. Don't waste your day in bed. That was a whole lot of rambling, but essentially what I'm trying to tell you is this is a fantastic, like, fantastic challenge, and I'm feeling absolutely amazing. And my husband's been doing this sort of with me. He's not quite as dedicated to getting the screens off, but he is trying. And I think I asked him the other day and he's like, for the most part, like I do feel like I'm getting higher quality sleep, and notice that he does fall asleep a little bit faster. He always said that he needed to be watching something and that's how he fell asleep, but he's finding that having like the podcast in is actually helping a little bit more with falling asleep faster. Surprise, surprise, because he's not staring at a screen trying to fall asleep. Apparently, to him, white noise equals really smart intellectual conversation. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on that, and thank you so much for watching so far. See you later. We're having a nice cloudy Vancouver day, but I wanted to hop on and tell you guys kind of the final thoughts of this challenge. Honestly, I have so enjoyed this challenge. By the end of it, I was definitely falling asleep a lot easier. I found that like once I got into bed, I felt drowsy pretty quickly, just knowing like, I'm in bed now, this is time to like wind down. I didn't really have like a strong desire to keep watching shows or keep on my phone after the 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock on the weekend. And overall, I really enjoyed falling asleep better at night, and then that in turn allowed me to wake up earlier in the morning, and I like wanted to be awake because I had been waking up 9, 10 later sometimes before this challenge. I would wake up, eat a little bit of breakfast, and like 2 hours later being like, shouldn't it be lunchtime? And it's like, oh, 9 o'clock. I still have like a whole day ahead of me. And that was just really exciting for me because it had felt like I was wasting the entire day because I was sleeping through the morning. I feel like a lot of people, especially right now, like the 5 a.m. waking up thing is kind of the cool, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of the cool thing to do right now. And I've been seeing a lot of like YouTube videos about how my 5 a.m. morning routine and like all those kind of things. For me, I would watch those and be like, yeah, like I'd love to have like earlier mornings, but there wasn't much talk on the other side of it because realistically, and I would try to shift my schedule by being like, okay, I'm just gonna wake up earlier tomorrow, but then I wouldn't be going to bed earlier, and so I would wake up exhausted and then sleep longer, which makes sense because like we need our sleep. So kind of doing the challenge in a different way by saying like, this is my going to bed time, it kind of naturally allowed me to become a little bit more of a morning person because I was taking care of myself and getting the rest I needed on the front end. Does that make sense? I really enjoyed this challenge, and just not having electronics be the last thing I see when I fall asleep, and having that time to just kind of calm down before sleeping. And like I said at the beginning, I really was still taking a while to fall asleep, but I found that it was getting easier by the end of it. I will say, trying to do this challenge with your spouse is a little bit of a challenge if you're not on the exact same page. Andrew was still very much wanting to watch his TikToks, and there's a couple nights where I probably didn't say it very nicely, which was probably half of our problem, but it's past 9, like I don't want to keep doing this. And so he would finally shut it off, but it would be like there was a couple arguments that stemmed from having to turn off the electronics at 9. So that was a little bit of a struggle, but ultimately I think we both benefited from it. At the very least, we learned something, even if he didn't love it. Also, towards the like second week, so this past week, there was a couple more cheat nights than I would have liked. Like there was one night that Andrew was really enjoying watching his stuff, and so I just kind of watched it with him for a little while. And then the very last night actually was our worst night, and it was because he had a project the next day. So he was practicing his presentation with me, which involved a computer. And then after that, we just kept talking for like hours, which technically isn't part of the challenge. It wasn't like I had to be asleep by a certain time. It was just winding down and turning off electronics at a certain time. So overall, I would say this was a very successful challenge. Way to go, us. Felt fantastic being able to fall asleep early and wake up early. I just felt more productive throughout the day. I felt a little bit more alive, and I felt a little bit less like I was just wasting away my life. And so that was a huge thing for me, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the challenge. Like I said, it's a lot more practical than just let's wake up early. Highly recommend it. Will I keep on with this? I think to an extent, yes. Andrew loves his screens all the way up till bed, so that may be a challenge, but I think he did really enjoy us reading together and talking and playing games just without the phone or computers. It just was a lot more intentional time together. Like the first night, I don't know if I mentioned this, so in case I didn't, but I specifically remember the first night was when we were playing Phase 10, and every time that I'd finish my turn, I would reach to go grab my phone because I had gotten so used to always being entertained or always having something to do that when it was his turn, I didn't want to wait for him and do nothing. And so I would like want to reach for my phone, and I had to kind of remind myself of like, oh yeah, this is kind of part of the challenge. And so I think that too, of just kind of recognizing my essentially addiction to my screen was very helpful and eye-opening. I think screens are still useful and still great, and I actually, overall, it just taught me that I can benefit a lot from intentionally not using my screens. I think just slowing down a little bit and being present in the moment. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've only done 2 of these challenge videos so far, so I'm not exactly sure how you guys enjoy them, but I really do like trying out different things and seeing how I benefit from it or don't benefit from it, how difficult it is to keep it up. If you guys have suggestions of other challenges, or if you are like a super night person, like night owl, or morning person, let me know. I'd be really curious kind of like how you guys function and how you function best, and if you would want to do something to challenge yourself to do opposite of what you normally do. I am very grateful for those of you guys who are subscribing. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.